Hey everyone, hey everyone, hey everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. You know who it is. And it's time for our weekly track roundup, where I go over what I felt were the best and worst tracks of the week. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. And not sure if it needs much more explanation beyond that at this point. All the songs that I talk about in this segment are linked down there in the description. And, of course, we have to shout out a couple of things before we get into the tracks. One, our Amazon Associates link. Look for it down there in the description. If you click on it and you shop on Amazon and you live in the U.S., we get kickback from whatever you buy. Does not add to your overall price, supports the segment, supports the show. We also have a similar thing going on with the good people over at Turntable Lab. You can buy colorful pressings of records that we have reviewed on the channel, both positively and negatively. And you could also buy, audio equipment, turntable stuff for the budding record collector, budding audiophile, whether it be you or someone in your life. And also want to shout out our t-shirts over at theneedledrop.com/support. Go over there. That link is in the description. Check out those shirts. The shirts are kind of on back order right now. I'm sending them all out myself with Jeremy. Shout out to Jeremy. And, we're packaging them. I'm printing out the labels. I'm collecting the addresses and all that stuff. And, I just got back from vacation, so this week I have not sent out any shirts. However, we are going to be sending out the next batch very soon as within the next 24 hours. So, again, very soon. That batch will go out, and eventually the batch of T-shirts that I get ordered this week will go out, but just please be patient, especially if you are overseas, because even if, I send them out ASAP, the shirts typically do take 3 to 4 weeks to reach, overseas destinations like Australia and the UK and Japan and stuff like that. So do keep that in mind. All right, cool. I think that is everything that you guys need to know before we get into the tracks. Let's just get into the list, starting off with the worst tracks of the week. Worst tracks of the week, the songs that I was most disappointed in. What are those? Starting off with this new single from The Darkness. All the pretty girls The Darkness continue to come through with and deliver the worst and most inexcruciating cliches of hard rock and hair metal from the 80s. However, now at this point, there's so many albums deep. With the debut, it was kind of cute. It was kind of fun. Now it's just getting tired and old. And that's certainly the case with this new track over here, All the Pretty Girls. Moving on from there, Mark Kozelek has a new track out from an upcoming collaborative project featuring Boye and Jim White. This new song titled House Cat sounds like a really messy live demo that's kind of unlistenable. Didn't really care for the lyrics all that much either. Just felt like a really messy performance. Felt like all the things that I didn't really like about Universal Themes, but turned up to 11, because Universal Themes, as much as I was underwhelmed by that record, there certainly were some cool things about that album. There certainly were high points of that record where it felt like the visceral, kind of loose in the moment recording of that album worked to Mark's benefit. But all of that is just on the negative edge of that sword on this new track over here, unfortunately. Not expecting much from this forthcoming project based off of this track, but, who knows? And I still have to try out that new album Mark has out with the Parquet Quartz bassist. Moving on from there, Demi Lovato with the new single Sorry Not Sorry, which really is pretty much every modern pop music cliche just regurgitated once again onto another top 40 song. There's really nothing to say about it, and the hook is absolutely obnoxious. It's just a really annoying, painfully formulaic song with nothing special about it, and that's really kind of how we have to leave it because, again, there's really nothing to describe. There's really nothing to write home about in regards to this track. I mean, the hook is kind of sticky, but it's not really a special song at all by any means. And finally in this segment, I believe this is our last track in the worst segment, Diamonds from A$AP Twelvyy, featuring A$AP Rocky. This track is kind of like one of those cloudy, mysterious, very pillowy and soft trap-flavored rap songs that I wouldn't say it's a sensitive song, but it certainly has a sensitive sound to it, which I don't think complements Twelvyy's style at all. Rocky usually does pretty good over this kind of production, but it does not bear out here on this new track over here. Just a really weak, underwhelming song with really nothing all that captivating about it. Just really a throwaway single, in my opinion. And I believe that's going to do it for the worst tracks. Let's get into the meh songs, the songs that I was kind of on the fence with, but still I wanted to mention them here, shout them out, point your attention toward them, because I think they're worth your attention if you're into some of these artists or into the style of music that they deliver. First, I want to, which one is this? This is the new Wolves in the Throne Room track. Yes, Wolves in the Throne Room has a new single, a new track out titled Born from the Serpent's Eye. And this, to me, is kind of like the follow-up record to Two Hunters, where the band kind of wiped away a lot of the atmosphere and a lot of the reverb that their music was previously shrouded in, maybe to show that they weren't entirely dependent on that sound to sort of make a good record, but in fact they were. And unfortunately, it sounds like they go a little bit drier, a little bit rawer on this new song over here. And as a result, it is a little underwhelming. Wolves in the Throne Room have never been one of those bands that, again, in the raw, has sounded the best to me. They sound amazing in atmosphere, especially their last record, which was mostly an ambient album, which I thought was an amazing and a fantastic and surprising turn. But this new track over here, while it certainly does sound better than a lot of the drier cuts the band has released over the years, it's not really flooring me or anything like that. However, I'm willing to sort of be patient and see if it all kind of works as a complete project whenever this album does come together with or this track rather does come together with the rest of an album. Moving on from there, the War on Drugs has a new track out titled Strangest Thing, which is kind of a very slow burner ballad, not quite as gauzy as the band's previous stuff. It's all right, nothing really flooring me about it, but certainly a track that could grow on me as I listen to it more and more within the context of the upcoming album, A Deeper Understanding. Look for that album very soon, and look for a review for it too when it drops. Randy Newman has a new track out. Legendary songwriter Randy Newman, new song Sonny Boye, which is kind of a biographical tune about blues harmonica player Sonny Boy Williamson. A pretty interesting thing for Randy to write about, but he's always been kind of one of those quirky singer-songwriters who, attacks and features interesting topics in his work, in his material, and, that's nothing to be surprised about here on this new cut. The tune was okay. It doesn't really have the usual jauntiness and, I guess, pepper and flavor and spice and pizzazz of a usual Randy Newman song, but he is really getting up there in age, and he is kind of at the point in his career where he is toning it down a little bit. That's to be understood. But this could be a really cool and interesting Twilight release for Randy Newman once the song sort of is heard within the context of the entire record. I keep bringing that up, but it's important. The context of the entire album, and which I think is especially important to highlight and point out in an age where people sort of seem to be appreciating albums less and less, but I digress. Moving on from there, Propagandhi has a new decent single out titled Victory Lap. Never been a huge Propagandhi guy, just going to be straightforward about that. But I thought this track was an interesting and a cool piece of melodic hardcore that was kind of catchy, kind of poppy. Obviously, with Propagandhi, there's always a politically charged sort of angle to the lyrics, so be on the lookout for that. And want to shout out Joji's new single titled Rain on Me. Joji, aka George Miller, aka Pink Guy, aka Filthy Frank, blah 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 blah. You know him. I know him on a somewhat personal level. Just wanted to give a shout out to this new track over here that he has out that was released on the 88 Rising YouTube channel. It's okay. It's a very kind of melodic tune with him mostly singing. And, I don't know. I'm not as crazy about it as I am his Pink Guy stuff. Obviously, his Pink Guy stuff, there's a comedic element to it, but I still find it very entertaining. This sort of seems like, hopefully the kind of thing that when George dropped Pink Season, that his fans were kind of bitching for him to go in the direction of, because there was kind of this pervading and very annoying vocal opinion that, you need to make serious music. Make serious music. Make it serious. I want it to be serious. I want the music to be serious. Which was kind of annoying because, I think Pink Season is kind of entertaining. Hopefully this kind of quenches that thirst. I mean, it's not really doing much for me, but again, hopefully for the people who are demanding such a thing, a more serious direction, hopefully you're getting something out of this. And one more, I think, the new Chad VanGaalen song over here, Pine and Clover, obviously a mix of experimental music, indie music, and folk music, kind of crashing into a really creative and interesting sonic color palette for Chad. Not one of my favorite Chad tunes that I've ever heard, but that creative production and that sort of left field instrumental style that he usually has to his songs is here. It's alive and it's well. And if you're into experimental folk, experimental indie music, you're not going to want to miss it. All right, let's get into what I felt were the best tracks of the week. We're burning through this list, and hopefully you're getting some good recommendations out of this too. We're burning right through it. All right. Wolf Parade, Cry, Cry, Cry. I was pretty surprised to be heavy into the new Wolf Parade track. For me, this song brought back the visceral instrumentation, especially the guitars, and the undeniably dramatic and captivating vocals from Spencer Krug that has always made Wolf Parade a captivating and a fun and an interesting and a wild and an exciting band. This isn't going to be the first time Wolf Parade has ever come out with a solid single, that led to a record that maybe was a little, underwhelming, at least in my opinion. But at least this new song kind of gives me hope, certainly has me excited to hear this new album over here. So shout out to the old guard of indie, Wolf Parade over here, from delivering a solid single. And I didn't mean to say Cry, Cry, Cry. I apologize for that. The song is Valley Boy. The album is titled Cry, Cry, Cry. Screwed up on that one because I'm a dum-dum, and I do these in the raw, so there you go. New single, new track from Uncommon NASA, featuring Billy Woods and Quelle Chris. The new song is titled Written at Night, and given the title, it's not all that surprising that we're hearing a very spacey, a very almost ambient instrumental on this track. But of course, Uncommon NASA comes through with his very, the word I'm looking for is very confident, and almost bordering on talking, very narration-like rap style of delivery. Of course, Billy Woods has a style that is very similar to that. Not to say that they sound like each other, but Billy Woods, his rap style is very narrative-like as well. It's very kind of still. It's not super animated, and neither is Quelle Chris. So it's kind of interesting to hear these three rappers that have similarly subtle styles all landing over a very subtle instrumental. And, it was kind of a unique experience to kind of hear these three guys, all of whose art, all of whose work I admire quite a bit on one single track. Shout out to Uncommon NASA for sort of bringing it together, making it happen, because I do think it's a really good song and has me excited for the new album over here. Moving on from there, Grizzly Bear, Neighbors. Yes! Pretty much every single to drop from this forthcoming Grizzly Bear album has landed in the worst section of these videos because they've been so painfully underwhelming. And I just don't know, where is, I'm just not hearing much of Daniel on these new songs over here. And I just feel like his songwriting presence is really a pivotal part of what makes Grizzly Bear Grizzly Bear. And I'm just not hearing it on these tracks. But having said that, I do feel like this new song over here is one of the most instrumentally and compositionally powerful. It actually is the most instrumentally and compositionally powerful single of all the batch of singles that have come out so far. Given that I've heard more songs I was disappointed by than excited by from this forthcoming album, I can't say that this track is making me excited now. But at least I know that maybe there's hope. Maybe there's a chance that I'll hear more cuts like Neighbors over here. Really dynamic songs with interesting crescendos and, more captivating melodies. Doesn't just feel like a cold fish laying there so flatly and so lifelessly. Just hoping, again, for a little more life on this new Grizzly Bear album. And this new single is bringing it. Make sure you check it out, but don't skip it just because you may have not dug the past singles from this record. I do think it is a highlight. Emily Haines and the Soft Skeleton, not Emily Haines, just simply Emily Haines fronting Metric. Emily Haines' solo project, essentially, the Soft Skeleton with, Emily Haines and the Soft Skeleton. New song out titled Planets. Very powerful, very spacey, and I want to say very dramatic ballad from Emily, but that's kind of the songwriting style that she goes for when she's in more of a solo capacity that I enjoy so much. I've never been a big Metric fan. I love that on her solo stuff, she's able to kind of unravel and play things a little bit more subtly and a little bit more theatrically on this stuff. And, that's really what kind of continues to attract me to it. Also, some of the arrange and the backing instrumentation on this song is gorgeous, so don't miss out on it. Very beautiful tune. Moving on from there, we have a new Adult Swim single over here that I wanted to point out. I believe from A-Trak, or no, not A-Trak, from Deerhoof. Yes, excuse me. Deerhoof, your dystopic creation doesn't fear you, featuring Awkwafina, who is a rapper based in the New York area. If you haven't heard of her, she's very entertaining, very eccentric, very wild, very left field, a lot of personality and a good sense of humor on her too. And her teaming up with Deerhoof, I've caught her live with Deerhoof, but I don't know if I've heard them collaborate much, which is totally fine. Not saying that I expected or didn't expect that, but if there's a song out there previously that they worked on, it's not coming to the forefront of my mind. But I love hearing them together on this new track over here. And I'm actually liking kind of the direction Deerhoof is taking their latest tracks in. Like, it seems almost smoother and poppier and catchier, not nearly as abrasive as some of their recent stuff. And I'm hearing some different sounds and new dynamics in their music that I haven't heard before with this new cleanliness in their production. And I'm just kind of hoping that, they sort of continue to experiment under this newer sound and they just don't turn completely smooth and, a little bit more commercial and super easy to listen to. Not that I like difficult music or music that's bad to listen to or anything like that. But, there is sort of a weird, crunchy and naughty character to Deerhoof's music typically that I enjoy hearing on their records. I don't want to just hear the band try to go mainstream or something like that. And not that I think that that's going to happen, but especially with this new track over here, because Awkwafina definitely turns the weirdness up to 11 on this track. But I don't know what I'm ranting about or worried about. It's a good song. I had a lot of fun with it, so... Moving on from there, I think this is our last cut that I wanted to shout out. Yes, this is the new A-Trak song, Believe, featuring Quavo and Lil Yachty. It's a very sweet and dancey and summery tune with Yachty and Quavo coming together with a lot of chemistry on this song. And I don't know, it's just a fun little kind of trap, kind of dance and EDM inspired song that has a lot of personality to it, a lot of... I guess with Yachty, you're always going to have like a lot of character because he is kind of an eccentric and sort of a weirdo in the rap game still. And he always still comes through with a good feature, despite the fact that I thought his latest record was really underwhelming and left a lot to be desired. But whatever, I digress. All right, there we go, guys. That is going to be this segment, the weekly track roundup. Again, all those songs, along with our Amazon Associates link, our Turntable Lab link that I showed you earlier, and the shirt link are down there in the description. Check these tracks out. Hope you're doing well. Hope you got some good recommendations out of this video. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I will catch you guys in the next one. Tyler, the Creator video coming out very soon. The review of Scumfuck Flower Boy. And love you, love you, love you. Love you. Forever. Forever.